Okay, I guess we're live now. Let me quickly check. Still there's a 15-second delay. Yeah, I guess we're live now. Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing good. Let me quickly check few settings. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for joining. Before we start, can anybody quickly confirm in the live chat? Am I audible properly? And can you see me live? So again, people are joining. Hi, Venkatesh. Good evening. Okay. Thank you, Venkatesh, for the confirmation. We'll wait for a few minutes and then we'll start with our live session. Hi, Dhanush. Thank you. Hi, Kishore. Okay. So all settings done. Thanks, Rituraj. Okay, so let's start. So guys, today we have a special live session, which is basically API testing using generative AI. And in the last sessions, we have seen how you can automate web applications using generative AI. We have used one of the tool called TestRigor. And today we are continuing with the same tool. Today we'll see how you can automate end-to-end APIs using TestRigor and how you can use generative AI, how you can use the main features without writing a single line of code, how you can automate different API scenarios, end-to-end scenarios. So if you have any questions, please note it down. We will be discussing them in the live. So we have Gautam with us, who will be going through the end-to-end demo. But we have, as of now, plan only for REST APIs. But if you have any kind of APIs that you want us to take in the next live, please feel free to post. And if you have any questions during the live, note it down. We'll discuss them today itself. So let me invite Gautam. Hello, hi Gautam.
Hi Mukesh. Hi everyone. Thank you
So
so
guys,
much for
Gautam.
joining this webinar.
Yeah, thanks Gautam. Thanks for joining us. I know you are having a quite busy schedule. Still, you take time to join us on live. So guys, Gautam is a QA manager at TestRigor, and he have a vast experience in automation. So right now he's helping different clients to achieve their 100% automation, or I will say 80 to 90% automation. And when we discuss offline, we have seen the massive growth and how companies are reducing their maintenance time up to 90% using TestRigor. So we'll see how exactly we can use TestRigor with REST APIs as of now. And Gautam, we will start with your introduction, then we can continue with the demo.
All right. Okay, guys. My name is Gautam Marwa, and I'm a QA manager here in TestRigor. I have more than 5 years of experience as a QA manager in TestRigor. And today I'll show you a demo where I'll be automating API calls in TestRigor using plain English commands, right? And as you know, that TestRigor is automation tool using which you can automate your mobile web and native desktop applications. Along with that, you can automate your SQL queries and your API calls in the same test cases as well, right? So I'll start with the with a little presentation. Can I share my screen?
Yes, Gautam, please go ahead.
All right. Please let me know if it is visible to you guys.
Yes, Gautam, it's visible.
All right. So as you can see, guys, we can automate web applications, mobile native and mobile web applications, native desktop applications, and recently we have also released a feature where you can actually automate mainframe applications using the same commands that we support here in TestRigor, right? So today's agenda would be, let me. So this is the today's agenda. I'll show you how you can create your account in TestRigor, and then we will create first test suite where we will be automating one of the basic API calls After that, I'll try to automate few of the complex API calls where we try to pass dynamic data in the body of the API call, in the headers and the URL of the API calls. All of this will be done in plain English commands. Once that is done, I'll show you how we can reuse the code again in the other test cases. We'll be creating rules out of it, right? And then after that, as you can see, what we'll do is I'll create a test case where I will store the response of one API. I'll extract the specific data from that API response, and then we'll use that response as an input to another API. We can do that as well in TestRigor. And then at the end, I'll show you how you can combine your API calls with your functional test steps. So all of this we will go through one by one in this particular demo. So shall we begin, guys?
And guys, we want to hear from you. Like if you're doing API testing, what are the common challenges you guys are facing, so that we can take that and we can help you to solve with the help of TestRigor. So any challenges that you face in every day-to-day activities, let us know, so that if possible, we'll quickly cover live. Otherwise, we'll do in the next live. Yeah. And Gautam, maybe we can quickly show some of the documentation too during the live, so that in case they want to explore from
Sure,
their side, how they can. Yeah.
sure. So guys, first thing is what you have to do is come to testticket.com and click on sign up and create your account, right? If you are going to use any of the confidential information in your test cases, make sure that you're not using public open source, because this in this particular license, all the data will be public. Make sure that you use private complete, where the data will be private and you'll be able to use all of the features of TestRigor. So once this form is filled and you submit this form, you'll receive an email, verification email. Once you verified that, you will land on the dashboard of TestRigor like this. On the right side, you'll see a form to create a test suite. Currently, we are supporting 5 different testings, as you can see in this particular drop down: desktop web, mobile web, native and hybrid mobile, native desktop, and mainframe. Right. So for now, we'll just go with the desktop web testing. So I've created a demo already. So I'll just open that particular suite. And once it is open, you will see the test cases that I've already created on the right side like this. These are all API related test cases. On the left side, you'll see the things that support in TestRigor, right? The different areas, different sections. So if I talk about the documentation, you can come here to the resources and click on documentation. Once you click this, you'll be navigated to this particular page. This is our main documentation, and you'll be able to see the things that we support currently in TestRigor. On the left side, as you can see, so let's go by the basic ones. Like this, as you can see, we just simply use visible text to locate the element. So to perform the action click, you can just go with the visible text that you see as a human on the UI. So in this particular thing, like suppose that there is a web application where you see this cart as a text. So to click on that particular text, you can simply say click cart, something like that. In plain English, you can write down in TestRigor to automate your applications. The main features that we have in TestRigor is like you can do visual testing, you can easily automate HTML tables, then you can do API testing, then you can do uploading file testing. Then we have phone calls and SMSs. Like this, these are supported out of the box, right? There's just one additional integration required, using which you can literally automate your phone calls. Like for example, if you're receiving a code as an OTP in through the message, right? And if you want to use that OTP in your test cases, these kind of scenarios you can automate using these functionalities, right? And then we have email testing, and then we have audio testing, database query testing. So it's like you're writing down your SQL queries to get the data from the database in the run. Then you can automate your Chrome extension, you can automate the CAPTCHA, and then you can scan the QR codes as well, right? All of these things comes out of the box with TestRigor, which will help you to cover your scenarios almost 100%. So let's go through the API test cases that we have created. So for now, in the documentation, if we go through the, let me, API testing. So this is the script in plain English that you'll have to write down in your test case. What you have to do is, as you can see, like we are just mentioning like clearly call API
Can you
post.
increase the font size, or you can keep it in Notepad and then you can explain so that people will get what exactly it is? Yeah,
Is this
yeah,
fine, guys?
yes, yes,
Okay.
perfect.
All right. So as you can see, this is the API post, right? And we are passing the URL of that API, and then we are passing the headers and the body of that API call. And if it is required to store the response of that API call into a variable, you can extract the response or the specific data by passing the JSON path, and then you can store it in a variable like this. And at the end, we are checking whether the HTTP code, the response code of that API is 200 or not. For example, you made this API call and the response is not 200, the test case will fail telling you that there is some issue with that. The HTTP code is not 200, right? We'll see all of these things in this demo. So for example, okay, this is the application, which is an open source application using which, like on which I've created, API test cases. These are open API calls that you can test at your end as well. So as you can see, there are few modules, right? Creation of the token, then getting all the booking IDs, then booking details, then creation of the booking, updating the booking, and then we have partial update booking, and then we have a module called delete booking. We'll automate all of these things through TestRigor, right? So on the right side, once you're in the TestRigor, after within the suite, on the right side, you'll see add test case. This button. Once you click that, you have to give the test case name over here. For example, I just want to create a token, right? So I'll say create token, something like that. And then I'll just copy the code from the documentation. This is a sample code, right? And then I'll upload, copy this particular URL over here, like this, right? These are the mandatory headers that we'll be passing, and the body that we'll be passing, we'll copy like this and paste it there like this. So at the end, once this test case is generated and it's done, it will look like this, the complete thing, right? This is the API call to generate the token. So as you can see, call API post, this was the URL, the headers, and then we pass the username and the password so that we can get the token, right? So this is the JSON path we are using to store the token in the token variable, and then we are checking whether the HTTP code is 200. Once we run this test case, I'll show you. See, I just clicked on retest and now it is running. It'll take few seconds. Once it is in progress, you'll see the screenshots like this here. See, now this is the latest run that we have just ran. At the end, when you click on more details, show extra info, you'll see the token that particular API call generated is this. It is stored in token variable and the call and the token is this. This is the this is where you can see the whole response of that API call. Once you click this is the actual response of that API call, right? You can see the token is this, and then we have extracted this token using the JSON path and stored in a token variable. So this is the first test case how we have generated a token, and after
Gautam, you
that,
can also show that in case we are not getting the status code that we're expecting, how it will show the failures and how you can see
okay.
in the report section too.
So for example, maybe like I cannot control that particular API,
Yes.
but we can control our script, right? So we expect that the code would be 401, right? We'll just run the test case. Let's see what happens.
And guys, if your API does not have an UI, then you can just keep about colon blank so that even if you
Correct,
don't have the Swagger or API documentation, you can still test your APIs.
correct. So Guys, see, the test case failed because the expected thing that we have uh, thing is like the HTTP code should be 401, but that API call is maybe giving a 200, right? So as you can see in this particular info, it's showing you that the HTTP code is 200, but expected code is 401, right? Like this, you'll be able to see the errors. Any questions for that, Sai?
You can also show this error which is coming on the left hand side, so that in case they want to directly report.
Correct. So this is the errors page where you get the errors, for all of the test cases. So currently we just have one error. So it is showing you that that single error over here. This page has a very good feature, I would say. This page does group all the similar errors as one, so that if you want to report that particular error, you can just come here and create an issue in Jira, and suppose like that is a known issue to you guys already, then you can mark it as known in one go, right? And if you want to check like how many test cases are getting affected for that particular same error, you can click on this button. It will open those test cases which are getting affected. So suppose like you're having thousands of test cases, multiple or hundreds of test cases are failing because of the same error, right? You don't have to go through the each test case again and again. You can just come over here and you can see, okay, this is the error which is affecting. You'll see hundreds of
Number of
test
test
cases
cases.
are getting affected because of that.
Okay, great.
And there's one more feature, guys. This fix by find and replace. For example, there is a change in the UI, right? You had a button called sign in, and you had a command you were using click sign in command in that particular test case, and now the button has been replaced to maybe login, right? So what you can do here is like because all of the test cases are getting failed, you can come here, fix and find by replace. You can replace the existing command like this. So it was click sign in, now it is click login, right? And you can click on find all. This should give you all the test cases where you are using this particular command. Clicking on replace selected would automatically or update all of the test cases which are getting affected because of that error. Using this, you don't have to maintain each and every test case one by one.
Yeah. So the example which Gautam is showing, this is applicable for UI, but same thing you can do for API as well. For example,
Correct.
now API documentation has been updated, or maybe the developers have changed the status code. Initially, it was something else, but based on the client requirement, they updated the status code. For example, 204 to maybe 20200. In that case,
Correct.
you can simply replace the existing step that you have written, and it will replace in all the test cases.
Correct.
Okay.
And also you get an option to select, maybe like if you want to select some specific test cases, you get an option to select by checkbox.
Yeah.
We are
So
getting few
Tejas, this
questions over there.
this particular question is going to like Gautam is going to show you. This is exactly what we have planned. So the token which he has created, it will be used in the next API calls. So whatever
Correct.
token he has created, it's stored in a variable, and now we will be using in all the subsequent requests.
Correct. But before that, we have few other test cases. Let's take a look there. So for this one, booking get bookings ID, if you come here and see for this particular API, you're just passing the URL, right? And then it should give you all the booking IDs that are there in the database. So if I show you the response that we've got, you can see there are multiples of IDs, right? Booking IDs available. So the API call is just simple. That call API get the URL and then the headers, and then we're just saving the complete response as booking IDs variable, and then we are check that HTTP code is 200. That's it, right? So in this particular variable, there are thousands of booking IDs that we have already saved, as you can see over here. So if I open this response, it's a very big response. See the data. All the IDs are already saved in the booking IDs variable. And then we have this get booking. Uh, so this is by passing. It's very simple one. If I take you through the actual scenario, we are just passing the ID from here. So the working one is one only. So I've just used that, and I'll show you. So I'm passing that the static ID for now, and the data that we are getting after that is, you can see, show extra info. You'll see the booking details is stored as first name Mark, last name. This is the response that we have received for that particular API call. And then we have this actual one, which is create booking, right? Over here, where we are doing plenty of things. The first thing is this: we are trying to generate a unique
So
first
Gautam,
name,
maybe we
last
can
name.
show this in a notepad in a large screen so that because if they understand this, they will get the clear idea. Yeah.
Will this help?
Yes. If you can, yeah.
All right, let me know.
Yes, this is fine.
Okay, cool. So guys, in this particular test case, I'm trying to create a booking where I'm passing a dynamic data in the body of the API call, right? The first thing is I'm using generate command in TestRigor to generate a unique name, right? The first name and the last name, and then I'm trying to generate a unique, a total price every time when I'm running this test case. So I'll show you how exactly it works. Generate command. Just come here, search for generate, and we are actually using template. As you can see, to generate the data uh, in digits, you can use hash symbol, and in small letters, if you want to generate data, you can go with the dollar symbol and then percentile, like this you can do, right? So in my test case, I've used capital letters and the small letters like this, right? I'll show you the data that it has generated, and then I'm trying to, I pass this unique data to the body of the API call like this. The only thing that we have to mention or change in the API call is this, that we have to mention like body from the string with parameters, text starting from the next line ending with end, and then we are passing the body like this, right? So wherever we are passing the variables in the API call, we have to pass it like this. The first thing is we have to mention the dollar sign, and then on the curly braces we are passing the variables like this. And if I show you the execution and the response of this test case, I'll close this and show extra info. You can see the first name that it has generated is this, because this is a unique data, so it will just create some uh, create some name like this only, and then we are passing it like this. In this is the actual request, that then we are passing the first name like this, as you can see, right? And then after that, once this booking is successfully created, we are getting the booking ID like this, 340, right? And this is how you can pass the dynamic value in the body of the API. Everything is mentioned here in our documentation. I'll show you that as well. Just a second, guys. See, you can pass the parameters like this. Just you can copy paste the command from the documentation, and you can pass the data accordingly. Just update your headers and the URLs and the data and the variables accordingly, and it should work.
And guys, if you have multiple headers, you can use and. So suppose if you have multiple headers, say and you can continue. Even
Correct.
if you have multiple validation, you can use and. Just like how
Correct.
we talk and how we get the documentation, the same way you can generate and you can simply replace with the data. And Gautam, maybe you can show the data that you are capturing, whether booking ID on the left hand side, all the captured data.
Yes. Yes. So in this particular section, all the data that we are capturing in that particular run will be appearing like this.
So if you want to
So for
quickly
now,
check and debug, you can see all the data which has been created.
yeah.
And You can validate if you further.
This is actually coming from all the test cases, but if you want to check specific data from the specific test case, you can come here to that particular test case and click on show extra info. It should show you the data that is generated, right? So yeah, the other test case, the other one is update the booking, right? So in this particular test case, it is required and mentioned that creation is done, update, yeah, that we'll be first passing the ID over here, which will be dynamic, and then we have to use the token that we have created the beginning of the test case, right? The first test case create token. So we'll be using that particular token to update the booking. So the scenario that I've created is something like, you can ignore this over. This is, I just wanted to show you that functional steps also works with the API calls in the same test case. So yeah, the first thing is, all right, so we missed something. I'll show you the rules that we have created. So for the creation of the booking, right, because the data we are creating in the test case is dynamic, so we can use the whole thing as a rule, so that we don't have to copy paste the same thing in the other test cases where we are required to create booking, right? So I've created a reusable rule out of it. How reusable rule works is like, it's like a function, right? You don't have to copy paste the repetitive steps. You just create a function or reusable rule and call it anywhere you want. So this is the reusable rule I've created. As you can see, maybe I'll have to zoom in. The same script in the rule, right? So that I can reuse the code again and again in the test cases. So I'll go to test case again. I'll come here to the update, and here you can see the script. Let me maximize this. So the first thing that we are doing here is we are creating a booking, and this particular rule will actually call the APIs of create booking module, right? And in the response we'll be getting the booking ID, right? And then that booking ID I'm passing in the next rule, which is like get booking details of stored value booking ID. That, suppose the booking ID is 352, this will be automatically passed to this particular next rule that I've created. This will get us the booking ID, sorry, the booking details of that particular ID, right? I can show you the output of both the things first. So the creation gave you 339 booking ID, and then the get booking details is showing you the whole thing, like what was the booking details of that particular last booking that we did for this particular 339 booking ID, right? And then after that we are trying to create a token which we will use to update the booking. So this is the call to update the booking, right? So this is call API put from string with parameters. As I mentioned that we have to pass the booking ID along with the URL. This is how we are passing, right? So the change that we have made here is just adding this particular part in the command. So call API put from the string with parameters. This is the header, which is not the header, but the URL, which is static. And then this is the dynamic booking ID. And then here, as you can see, I'm passing the cookie, the token that we have generated here in this particular get token rule, right? That token is passed to this particular header, and then after that, I'm just updating the details like this in this particular ID, and then I'm saving the response of that updated booking details in this particular variable. So will look like this. Uh, so when the booking created, the first name is nmdondvx, right? And then after the updation, the first name is Gautam and the last name is Marwa. So this is how we are using the response of one API as an input to another API, and how this is how we are, uh, creating the API calls with the dynamic URLs and dynamic headers. Any questions, guys?
So
Mukesh?
there are a couple of questions, Gautam.
Hmm.
So one question from Samita. Rule name and test name, a test case name has to be same.
No, it can be anything.
Okay. One question from chat. Does TestRigor support running entire test suite or series of multiple test cases?
Yes, you can run your test cases parallelly. Uh, there are multiple ways you can come here into test suite details. If you want to trigger your suite manually, then you can come here and click on rerun. It will trigger all the test cases parallelly, right? The second way is, for example, you want to run through your CI/CD pipeline, then you can use the existing pre-populated scripts at the CI/CD section, as you can see here. Using these scripts, you can, uh, you can trigger your test cases from your pipeline. So once the deployment is done, after that, these scripts will trigger the suite, and that suite will trigger all the test cases that we have in the test cases.
Okay. Great. So Sharath, it supports. So either you can select which one you want to run. You can either run the complete test suite, or based on, let's say, if you created individual jobs or individual pipeline in any of the CI/CD server, they have a bash script which you can simply use it and it can trigger the test accordingly.
Correct.
Okay. One question from Jasmeet Bhatia: Is TestRigor easy to integrate with Git?
Yes, it is very easy to integrate with the. If you are referring to the CI/CD integration only, then for your CI/CD pipeline, just use these existing scripts, right? So, for example, like I want to just run my whole suite. Whenever there is a deployment, there should be a job which will use this particular script to trigger my suite, right? So I'll just copy paste this script in my pipeline, maybe in a YAML file, and then whenever the pipeline is triggering that script, it should run the whole test suite in TestRigor. Once the test cases are done, like the execution is done, you will be notified through email, Slack, and Teams
Okay.
that the execution is done and these are the failures.
Okay. And Jasmeet, since TestRigor maintains multiple test suites, so Gautam, if you can show the main page where you created test cases, test suite.
Sure.
So TestRigor also support that in case if you want to maintain test suites, you can create a test suite and you can have multiple test cases inside the test suite. So whatever test you created, instead of storing in Git on GitHub, you can also maintain here as well. Yeah,
Correct.
great. Yeah, Gautam, let's continue.
Right. So after the update, the this is same like partial updates, not new thing. The same thing. So I'm creating a booking first, then I'm getting the details of that booking, and then I'm creating a token, and then I'm just the only change is this patch because this is the patch API call. So call API patch, and the rest of the things are same. So in this particular test case, from the random first name last name, I've changed it to Mukesh Otwani. I'll show you the response after the updation. As you can see, the updated partial booking details was set to first name Mukesh and then last name Otwani. Earlier it was when we created it, it was first name this BXHSL whatever, and the last name was this. So this is how we are, we can use APIs in single flow like this. We are passing the response from here and there. And then after that, we have a delete booking. So in this, I've created a booking, right? And then to delete, I also needed the token. So I created a token again, and then I passed it like this. Here, at the end, uh, we get something like, yeah, created as a response. This is mentioned in this particular website as well. So for delete booking, we are getting the response as created. As you can see here, this is the same thing we are getting in TestRigor as well. So the deletion is also working like this. And at the end, I'll show you how you can actually combine your API calls, multiple API calls, with your functional test steps. So what I'm trying to show you here is I'll try to create two bookings, which will give me two different booking IDs, right? And now, for example, maybe I want to use those booking IDs in my web application somewhere, right, to search something. So I just did a small demo. What I'm trying to do here is, as you can see, so I just opened a third party application. This is the URL. And then in the same test case, I'm calling the rule, which is to create booking, right? That booking will get me some booking ID, as you all guys know. That booking ID could be anything. So I'm trying to enter that booking ID into the message field of that particular page, right? Like this again, I've called the booking ID, this creation of the booking again. This will get me another booking ID that I'm trying to enter in the another field. So at the end, if you see, this is the UI of the page application. It was like this before: message, message to two fields, right? So the first booking ID that was generated, I have entered it here in the message field, and the second booking ID I've entered here as a second field. So as you can see, it is 1736, 1748, right? We can cross check. You can come here in the show extra info. You can check the first booking ID was set to 1736. Like the first one that got generated was gave us this 1736, and the second one gave us 1748. The both the booking IDs I've used in my GUI, the UI of the application, like this. So in one test case, I'm automating my web application. It could be web application, it could be your no mobile application, your Windows native application. And along with those functional test steps, I'm using API calls, right? Using the rules in plain English commands, as you can see. So yeah, guys, this is how you can automate the API calls in TestRigor.
Yeah. See, guys, basically what we want to show that suppose if you have end-to-end scenarios where you first maybe you did some UI execution, then you did some API, again you want to do some UI, then maybe you want to connect to database. So when it comes to end-to-end testing, right, we go through UI, API, database. This easily
Correct.
can be done with the help of TestRigor. So, for example, if you have to do end-to-end API testing, so if your APIs are mocked, then also again we have to cross check, right? So if you want to do the actual validation, sometimes you have to connect to the database, and then we see whatever bookings we created or bookings that we deleted, it is updating in the database too. That feature is also available. You can directly do database testing also with the help of TestRigor. So
Correct.
maybe Gautam, you can show that feature to database testing in case.
Correct. Yeah. So the first thing for the database testing is like you have to integrate your test suite with your database. So under settings, you can come to integrations tab, and over here you'll see database checkbox. You enable it, and you can give your credentials, the connection string, user, password, and you can select. Currently, these are the ones, the databases that we support. You can use
Very good.
them. If you have some other requirement, you can let us know. That could be a feature request for us. So once the integration is done, you just have to simply run your queries. Like I'll show you a demo. Like in this, it's clearly mentioned. Like run SQL query, and within the codes, it will be like this. So you can just copy this command. And for example, in the same test case, where I'm using functional test steps and my API calls, I want to run my uh, SQL query as well. After that, you can simply paste that query like this. That's it. And then you can, after that, do the validations and whatever you want to do. You can do that.
Okay. So there are two questions, Gautam. One question is from Sumita again. In what format do we get test report after the execution has finished?
So there are two kind of reports. You can come to reports section. Uh, it's like a very basic suite where you just have 8 test cases, but reports look like this. You'll see a pie chart kind of a thing. The status as per the test case statuses, like 13% failed, 88% passed, right? And then the reports based on the labels, and the reports based on the OS and browser combinations. For now, the suite is set on this particular combination where we are using Ubuntu infrastructure like the Ubuntu OS and Chrome browser, right? So if you're running your test cases on multiple browsers or multiple OS, you'll see those reports based on them over here as well. And then you can download this as a PDF, right? Once this is the it's kind of a reports for the whole suite regression kind of a thing. But if you want to see some kind of a execution PDF for this for a single test case, you can come here. This is a API test case, but I can show you what you can do. Come here, click on this view execution, and you can download this complete execution as a PDF and a Word. There are two options like this, right? Generate PDF, generate Word. Let's see if it is currently working. See, it generated the PDF of that execution. You'll see the name of the test case, that the run ID, status, execution time, whole things like who created, who executed, URL, and then on which combination, OS browser combination you are running, and then the link to the execution, and then it should have the what we say the screenshots of that particular test case as well, because this suite is created for web application testing. So, and we have given this URL as a base URL, so it's showing us the landing page of that particular application. So like this you can do, yeah.
So Sumit, that supports multiple, and you can go ahead based on the requirement. Either you can directly check the test dashboard and see the report section, or you can go ahead with the documentation like Word or PDF. And Gautam, this question is was in the last live also. Sharad asked, what is the generative AI aspect in this demo? So maybe you can show some generative AI capabilities and the documentation, how it
Mhm.
runs behind the scene, or uh, how you guys use generative AI, because many people assume that it's like a normal any other automation tool, which
Mhm.
simply runs a few lines of code behind the scene.
So, Gen AI functionality that we have is basically for UI automation thing, where you can just give a description, and you can upload a screenshot of Figma file or any design or blueprint. So, TestRigor's AI would take a reference of that prompt that you have given, and it will take a reference of the image that you have uploaded, and it will try to create test cases out of that particular prompt, right? And along with those test cases, if it is given, like if you have given accurate description, it will try to create test steps as well along with the test cases,
Okay, so
like this.
Sharad, I hope
Yeah.
you got it, because see, when it comes to generative, it has to take some references. So you have to give the exact description of the application, Sigma files, or the structure, and give the exact what your application does. It can auto generate the test cases for you. You have to tell how many test cases you want to generate. So it will give you the count. You want to generate 1, 10, 50, depends on what kind of plans you have. It can generate the test for you. It can automate the test, and it can automate parallelly across multiple browser and multiple OS by just giving the proper description about the application along with some Figma screens. So here what we did, we took certain APIs, we use get, post, put, pass, delete, head options, we use authentication, and we have extracted the response and validated. But when it comes to web UI, you have multiple features. Okay, there are two more questions from Jashmeet. Is free account supports all necessary features like scheduler, get integration, and more?
There are few things that are not there in open source, but I think you'll be able to use CI/CD integration. Yes, scheduler is not there anymore, and but the rest of the things are there. You'll be able to make API calls. You'll be able to automate your UI. If in case of mobile, I think Android is available. You can automate your Android application.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And one more question from Jasmine. For revamp of complex project where each stack is changing completely, there's multiple modules are developing each sprint to meet the target of automating 20 APIs each day. Will it be helpful? So Jasmine, see, just now immediately, what we did is we automated almost 5 APIs within 30 minutes, right? It is just we have already written certain APIs and we have just changed the data. But API automation in TestRigor is like 1 minute task. You just need to change the API endpoints, what kind of HTTP request you want to make, what validations, headers, body, and send request. And you can automate complex to complex APIs too. It is just you need to understand the flow of the APIs and it can be done. So 20 is less, you can automate up to 52, depends on how much time you're spending. So
Correct.
uh, one question from Ratna is this, does this support mainframe batch processing testing?
Uh, this is in the beginning. I've mentioned that we have recently released, a feature you can literally automate mainframe, but that is still like pending at our end. But yeah, we are going to support. As I can show you, if you create the demo, you can select the mainframe applications here like this, and maybe in the next demo we'll try to create something out of it for you guys.
Yeah, great. That will be great. So one quick question, Gautam, does it suppose all kind of authentication, all kind of authorizations, like OAuth 2, all the flows, OAuth 1, all
Yes,
kind of? Okay,
yes, it does.
great. Okay. And guys, any questions? We will be here for the next few minutes. If you have any questions related to TestRigor or API testing using TestRigor, feel free to ask. And those who missed the initial few minutes, API support TestRigor supports many features out of the box. So when I started exploring, I was literally surprised. It can automate captchas. It can automate two-factor authentications, OTPs, email, phone calls, SMS, which is out of the box. So if you have such requirements where you have categorized certain test cases, CBA category, which is cannot be automated, I would recommend you to give a try with TestRigor. And if you have any custom requirement, or maybe you want to explore, or you want to do POC, if you want to have one end-to-end scenarios, you can schedule a demo with them. So
Sure.
they can customize the requirement, and if you have any specific requirement, they will see if that is possible, they can deliver it to you. If you go to the case studies right now, almost 54,000 plus customers are using TestRigor and they're able to reduce their maintenance by 90%. And I have given a link in the description and in the live chat as well. If you click on that link, you can schedule a demo with them and let us know about your requirement. We'll see, we'll try our best. Once demo is over, please let us know your views on demand for automation engineer with TestRigor skills in industry currently. What is skills opening of TestRigor? Okay, that part will take it offline, maybe offline, or maybe in the next live.
Sure.
Okay, and Gautam, quick question about SOAP. Does it support SOAP APIs?
Yeah, mostly yes. They are like the test trigger can't support. It does support SOAP, STP, this HTTP, GraphQL. I've discussed this with our engineering team.
Okay,
gRPC, WebSocket, and Socket.io, MQTT. These are not supported yet.
okay, great. So
Yeah.
guys, if you have SOAP APIs, if you have even GraphQL APIs, it supports out of the box. And whatever tests we have created, Gautam, can we share these test cases with them so that in case if they want to import and they want to give a try from their side,
Yes. Currently, this is created under my account, but
maybe you
I'll
can
create
give
one
it to
for
me. I
them.
will create a blog and I will
Yeah.
simply give them how they can start so that they will get
s-
at least a template. Or maybe you can also show a couple of templates which TestRigor have created. So in case they want to copy paste and change, they can continue.
Yes, we can do that. Yes.
So if you go to
And
their resources section, API documentation, for each API, they have a dedicated template. You can go ahead and use the
correct.
template and simply replace your API endpoint, payload, and other details.
Correct.
So These are the
Okay.
example: get, post, put, patch, delete, head, options, trace. Okay, so I will paste the link once again in the chat in case if you want to have a demo with them, or if you want to explore free version, please create a free account, explore web API, mobile, desktop, mainframe, whatever kind of applications you have. Check out the documentation. And I also have multiple videos. So if you just go to YouTube, Mukesh Utwani, Test Trigger, you will be getting a detailed playlist, how to automate different kind of applications, end-to-end scenarios. So you will get one playlist from 2023 and one new playlist which I'm recording right now. So you will be getting the new features too. Okay, so almost 50 minutes are over. We planned for 45 minutes. Any more questions, guys, before we end? Okay, so there's a delay. We'll wait for the questions, and
Sure.
if we get any questions even after the live, Gautam, I will let you know. We can discuss them in the next live. And guys,
Sure.
please let us know what kind of demo you're looking in the next live. We will try to create one end-to-end scenario, and we will also show you the different capabilities which TestRigor have. Yeah. So yeah, that's all from our side. Any more things that you want to discuss, Gautam? Any specific pointers you want to give?
Yeah, it's like if we are literally using TestRigor to automate maybe your functional test cases or APIs, and you're stuck somewhere facing some challenges, you can reach out to us. Maybe you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we have a support as well. You can reach out to our support people using the chat that we have in testtrigger.com. And yeah, let's see how it goes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so thank you so much, Gautam, for the nice demo. We'll connect with you again. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. I will see you in the next live. Till then, bye bye, take care. And Sharath, regarding this, I will be discussing this in the next live. Chalo. Okay, guys, thank
Right.
you so
Yeah.
much. Thanks,
Thanks.
Gautam.
Thanks,
See you.
guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, so live is over. Guys, any feedback? Anything that you want us to cover in the next live? Let us know. Yeah. Thank you, Sumita, for the active participation. Thank you so much for asking so many questions. It also gives clarity to other people who are joining this live. Okay, Sharad, I will quickly give you one view on this. See, basically, when it comes to generative AI, you should have some idea, because when it comes to like AI, now it's not the future. Every company is implemented, so it's a present now. You have to get comfortable with different AI tools which exist in the market, right? So that obviously you will get a holistic view how AI is revolutionizing the complete automation industry. What are the features? How it can drastically reduce the maintenance. So until you don't use certain tools, you will never know the limitation, the advantages. So don't think automation like this generative AI or test trigger only from the job perspective, or sorry, for the interview perspective. For your reference also, you should know that how these test or how these testing tools can optimize your current process, right? So don't always think in terms of openings. Okay, that is behind the scene, we always think of openings, but understand the more you learn, the more point of vision you have, and more you can give feedbacks to your team members. Let's say maybe you will not implement in the current project, but in future if you are getting such kind of projects where you have to deliver multiple tests within a short span of time, obviously you cannot write the code, you cannot build the framework from the scratch, right? So in that case, we have to go with tools which comes with a cost, but it can literally increase the test automation by 200 to 300%, and maintenance will reduce. So there was one project which I was working last year, and they had a critical requirement. They want to automate the complete application within a week. So I did the multiple POC. I told, if you go with this tool, this is the time it will take, this is the maintenance cost it will take, and if you go with this tool, it can be done within 3 to 4 days, but it comes with this cost. These are the pros, these are the cons. I was able to do it because I know these are the tool exist, right? In the same way, you should be very open that yes, these tools exist, this is how it can be done, pros and cons, pricing, and different pricings are available. And good to see that TestRigor have the free version too. So you can start with the free version. Only one thing, don't put any sensitive data, any private data, because with the free plan everything is available. That is what I would recommend. Thank you so much, Sharad. Thank you so much, Sheikh. Thank you so much, Dharmendra. Shushmita, thank you so much, and best of luck. Okay, Javeen, when will you start AI model testing? I'm working on it. There are a couple of frameworks which I have explored from my side. I'm still doing a couple of workarounds. There are three different frameworks which I'm exploring for AI model testing. Once it is done, definitely I will announce a course on this. If not course, I will start uploading on YouTube. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sharad. And yeah, thank you, Sharad, for you as well for answering. Sorry, for asking some important questions, which will definitely help with this. Thanks, Pawan. Thanks, Priya. Thanks, Javin. So, look, guys, it's almost 8:30. I will see you in the next live. Most probably, I will be doing one YouTube live general Q&A session around 7 to 8. So, in case if you have any other questions, note it down. We can discuss them live tomorrow. Chalo. Till then, bye bye. Take care.